ShallowCross Sports Network with the Double A. It's been a while since I've recorded a show, but anyway, this is going to be basically a Tennessee show. Going to get into a lot of things going on. First off, right off the bat, Tennessee has been doing well in recruiting. They picked up at least 8 players over the last couple of weeks or so. And we're going to get right into that and unpack that also. And then we are also going to unpack the House resolution ruling, where it is, and get you up to stuff where things are as far as that is concerned. And then also we're going to touch on some of the things going on with UT as far as basketball and NBA draft. I know the baseball draft is en route here in the next few days or so. So we'll be also reporting on that also. But anyway, with that said, let's get right on into it. Tennessee picked up some big recruits. They picked up a big recruit yesterday. And Jowell Comby. He's a safety out of, I guess it's out of Powder Springs, Georgia. And we really had to battle with some other schools on him also. Actually, it wasn't Powder Spring. I think it was Kell High School down there in Georgia. And it's the same high school that we got Brunson from. Brunson, the linebacker. So Brunson, we also picked him up. He's a 4-star linebacker. And he highly rated. I think he was the 6th rated linebacker in the top 300. And so that was a big pickup for Tennessee on him also. And then over the few days, we picked up a defensive tackle, Darryl Rivers. Darryl Rivers don't have much on Darryl. I know he's big. He's so Darryl is about 6'5", 270 pounds, and he a 3-star. Ranked number 56 in the state of Georgia. He was rated outside the top 600 nationally, but Coach Garner down there in Tennessee has a knack of being able to develop defensive linemen, whether it be edge rushers, strong edge rushers, or strong side defensive ends, two-gap, or three-gap defensive tackles. One-gap defensive tackles. So he has a lot of experience in developing a defensive line. But Darryl Rivers is out of McCarran High School in Powder Springs, Georgia. And then, of course, Comby and Brunson, both out of Marietta, Georgia. Joel Comby. And then, of course, we're going to touch on some more guys that picked up. Luke Thompson, the in-state kid out of Franklin. Picked him up about 3 weeks ago. He's a 6'1", 175 pounds. He was he graded out at 78, ranked him up the top safety prospects in Tennessee, and he committed back on the 14th of June. And then of course Zach Rose, big defensive end. Zach's probably gonna grow into a strong end, a strong side end. He could probably grow into a defensive tackle too. So we just have to wait and see. But just looking at the things that characteristics of Luke Thompson, he's on 3 plus 15 ESPN plus Rival 15. So he was heavily touted out there on those 3 media outlets. And then of course. He was also rated in Sports Illustrated too. And then, and of course, Zach Rose, he was number 81 ESPN grade, 246 nationally, and the top 300. He committed back in May. So it's been a while since I've been out here on the air, but I'm going to try to stay rock and steady once I get back into the groove. Had a few medical issues here and there, but I'm working on it. And then I had to go out of pocket, leave the state, and go do some things. But right now I'm back in the fold, and we're going to be giving you some shows here and there and get back onto it. But Just want to talk about C.J. Edwards. He's a defender out of Michlich, New Jersey, and he's another big time player that Tennessee picked up. And he was the ESPN grade 77. Position was 77, and he was 10th in the state of New Jersey for his football players. And he actually committed on February 25th, 2025. And just looking at him on film, and I've watched every one of these new auditions here for 2026 on film. I got to go back and look at Faison Brandon, and I got to go back and look at Comby. I looked at him, watched him a little bit yesterday, and then I watched C.J. Edwards, and I watched T.J. White and Duron Albert. And so just looking at C.J. Edwards, C.J. Edwards is very, very good pass rusher. And once he learns, he's going to be able to play that Leo probably at his size. And he's around 6'3" to 6'5", 220 pounds. He's going to probably bulk up to around 245, 250. But he's a very good, instinctive player. And then T.J. White, it's not going to take very long for him to be able to make an impact on Tennessee's defense. He's around 6'1" to 6'3", 230, 225, 230 pounds. He was rated had a grade of 80 at ESPN, and he was a 4-star, rated at 86, number 86 player. He's rated inside the top 100, and he's what you call a blue chip, and he committed to Tennessee over Florida State, Mississippi State, and so he's a big get. But boy, he can really play. He can really play. Him and Jaylon Bronson are two of the best young linebackers I've seen come out of high school. And Bronson hasn't filled out yet, but I think Bronson could be either an edge rusher or he can also be a Mike linebacker. Be able to play inside. He just needs to pick up a little bit more weight. But right now, T.J. White is a Mike linebacker right now. And then, of course, his high school running mate, Duron Albert. Duron Albert's a defensive tackle. He's around 6'2", maybe 295. He can play inside and play that 1-gap, 2-gap, or 3-gap penetrator. He can do that stuff right now, and he's really going to be an asset. He may not be an asset this year, but he still could get some playing time this year. That's how good he is. And he was a 4-star also. And he's on the same team there at Jackson Academy in Jackson, Mississippi with T.J. White. So those were big pickups, 2 4-star players, blue chippers that Tennessee picked up, and that's going to help them on the defense. And, of course, Coach Inge, the linebacker coach, he's doing an excellent job getting those kids in and getting some of the top players in the country. Tennessee, it won't be, if they can bring in Savion Hyder, and they can bring in and flip Tristan Keys from LSU, Tennessee could move into the top 5 in recruiting. And it's not out of the ordinary for you to believe that as a Tennessee fan. And so just going down the list here, Tyreek King, wide receiver out of Knoxville. He was graded at 84. He was ranked at number 51 within the ESPN 300, and he's the number 2 player in the state of Tennessee. Ranked that On 3 had him at 19 wide receiver nationally. And so number 1 slot per Rivals.com. So he's number 1 state player when you look at what Rivals.com had him rated. So like I say, I haven't actually reviewed tape on Tyreek King, and but he's going to be an asset for Tennessee. And then, of course, Legend Bay, I watched film on Legend Bay. Legend Bay is he's what they call I guess what they call it he's a guy that's a jack of all trades, kind of, sort of like Boo Carter in a way, but he can remind you of a smaller Cordell Patterson. He can run kickoffs, he can run punts, he can run out of the backfield, he can catch passes as a wide receiver. So he's like a Swiss Army knife for Tennessee, and he's one of the best players in the state of Texas. And I'm pretty sure he ran a 10-2, 100 meters. And when you do the math on that, that puts him around about, he's in the low nines he's in the low nines as a 100-yard dash. And so 10-2, 100 meters will get you around about, that's around 9-2, 9-3 in the 100-yard dash. So that's fast. That's blazing fast. And so he's another player that Tennessee has. And of course, Carson Sneed's a big tight end. We don't really know what's going on with Carson Sneed. We should find out here in the next few days. He's a big tight end, 6'5", around 255 pounds. And he's the only tight end in this class for 2026. And I've watched him on film. Very, very good athlete. Can play defense also. Defensive end, very good tackler, but he's a very good route runner as a high school kid. Catches the ball well, blocks well, and so he could be sort of like kill someone down the road if we don't lose him to North Carolina. Right now, North Carolina and a couple other schools are trying very hard to flip him on us, and of course. KJ McLean, he's another defensive back that they picked up as a commitment, and Jaylon Theodore is another defensive back they picked up. These are all 3-star players, and then they picked up a big name, and he's just a 3-star player. But some of these 3-stars could be 4 or 5 stars by the end of next year, when they actually are ready to actually sign to come and play for Tennessee. But Kedric Gholston, if you're familiar with that name, his father was a defensive tackle and / defensive end for Georgia. And he wound up playing 10, 11 years in the NFL. I know he played with the Washington Redskins. And that's where Gholston's from. He's from up in Ashburn, Virginia. And if you're familiar with Ashburn, that's where the Washington Redskins practice facility and the camp, sort of like the Tennessee Titans, St. Thomas Field or whatever over there. That area, the whole area up there in Ashburn, and a lot of the football players for the Commanders live up there. But that's where he played. He played at Ashburn, Virginia, at a high school there. And just watching him on film, he is another kid that I think could play inside as a Mike linebacker or play out as an edge rusher. I think his strong suit is going to be an edge rusher. And he's like 6'3", like 240 pounds, 235 pounds. And he can really play. He's a very aggressive pass rusher. He knows how to tackle. He knows how to break down on running backs and hit running backs in the backfield for loss. Very instinctive. He learned a lot of that from his dad. His dad, you could tell he's learned a lot from watching his father play. And he's another big time player for the Vols. And so it's been a heavy focus this year on players, on defensive players for Tennessee. You know, when you look at Comby, you look at Thompson, Groves, Edwards, White, King. King is an offensive player, but Sender's the big 5-star tackle out of Baylor, and out of Chattanooga, Baylor. And just talking about him, I've watched him on film. He's around 6'7" or 8", about 330 pounds. And he has a violent streak in him as an offensive lineman. He reminds me a little bit of a younger Jonathan Ogden. And that's saying something. Jonathan Ogden was a Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer. But when I watched Jonathan Ogden, he was around 6'9", 355. And I watched him play at UCLA. He could just dominate a defensive end. I mean, he was so much bigger than your defensive ends. So it was very difficult for them to get around him and get to the quarterback. He took that same expertise that he had in college as All-American to the Baltimore Ravens and was All-Pro every year he was in the NFL. He's in the Hall of Fame. Osenda could be that same type of guy. He's from Canada originally, but he came down here to play high school ball in Chattanooga. At Chattanooga Baylor. So we had to wait and see what's going to happen. But Osenda's a 5-star. And just like I was mentioning earlier, these kids can progress up to a 5-star player over the season, depending on what they do in this year's high school season coming up. And so that's one of the things that you got to look at, as far as these ratings are concerned. They can move up in the top 300. If they're not, if they're a 3-star, they can move up to a 4 or 5-star. You just got to wait and see what's going to happen. So the big people that Tennessee's waiting on is Jowell White. He is a defensive back / defensive end / wide receiver / linebacker. Very good athlete, and he's out of Webb School down there. I think Webb School is somewhere near. It's Bell Buckle, Tennessee, somewhere down there, and he's a very good player. Right now, it's 3 or 4 schools after him, and what they're trying to use is Tennessee is trying to recruit him as an edge rusher, and they're trying to use that against Tennessee. But that's my assessment, and it's for the fans. My assessment from knowing a little bit about football. I think White is better suited for the safety position, either free or strong, and wide receiver. I've watched a lot of film on him. He's a good, sure tackler. Looking at his frame, it's going to be at least 2 years for him to get up to where he could be a Leo or a strong side defensive end. So, or a strong side linebacker or a Mike linebacker or a weak side linebacker. So if I'm Tennessee, if I'm the Kelsey Pope and Martinez, I'm stumping and beating the door down for White to be either a safety or a wide receiver. Now, that's just my 2 cents on that. Fans, you can go out there on 3 or watch huddle videos and watch and see, put in the comments of this video what you think about Jowell White. And then also, Tennessee's waiting on a couple other guys. So of course they're waiting on. So right now, back to Jowell White. Jowell White's 6'5", 188 pounds. They're waiting on Savion Hyder. They're waiting on Tristan Keys, wide receiver, number 1 wide receiver in the country, number 1 running back in the country. See what they're going to do. And then if they can flip Keys, then we'll be in good shape. They're waiting on Darius Gray, interior offensive lineman. They're waiting on a big tackle out of Let me see where he's at. Waiting on a big tackle out of Big Shabazz. J.B. Shabazz, big tackle. The crystal ball has been given to Tennessee from for Shabazz. And we're waiting on him right now to see if he's going to commit to Tennessee. And Shabazz is a big guy. I think he's around 6'5", 275 pounds. But like I said, I think several other teams that's in the running for him. But I'm gonna pop him over there to you here, and you'll get a quick look at him. But this is J.B. Shabazz. They got him listed at 6'6", so he's around 315 pounds here. But I think it's coming out between South Carolina, according to this, Tennessee, and Ohio State. So the crystal ball has been given to South Carolina to land him. 24/7 has him as a 3-star, and then the composite score has him as a 4-star. So he is. I haven't watched his highlights, but he can play, and he's sort of just like an Ascender, and that gives us 2 offensive tackles. Now the drawback on all these players we're picking up, some of these players are going to be ready to play in a couple of years. And if there's no holes for them, then you know how the transfer portal is. These people get up and leave. But hopefully we're doing a good job of getting these guys in and rotating. Now, I know Coach Garner on defense, he plays a lot of players. If he's got 16 defensive linemen, he's going to play them. And we may have to use that same concept. Coach Inge, on linebacker coach, he may have to use that same concept. He may have to use that same concept to address the talent that he has and the talent he's brought in that Coach Garner uses on the defensive line. Same way with Coach Martinez and the defensive back coach, you know. Same way with Coach Chop, you know, who's coaching the defensive ends, outside linebackers, I guess now. But those guys are going to have to play a lot of players. Now, it's another thing that's another element to that. You know, kids will get disenfranchised with not being out there on the field all the time, and that's another problem. But when they get around the junior year and the senior year, these kids want to make a name for themselves so they can try to have a chance to play in the NFL. And the thing about it is, you know, it's not that many jobs. You're talking 32 teams. I haven't heard anything about the NFL expanding past the 32 teams. I know the NBA is talking about expanding here in the next few years or so. But I know the WNBA Women League just announced their expansion. But anyway, with that said, let's get into some other things real quick. But to finish up on recruiting, Craig Tutt, a safety from Murfreesboro, the crystal ball has been given to Ole Miss for him, and so that's big news. Tennessee's recruited him extremely hard, try to get him, and they need some safeties. The other thing too is so let's switch over to basketball. Tennessee had 2 individuals drafted in the NBA draft. Chaz Lanier went to the Detroit Lions in the 2nd round. And then, of course, Jamal Maschak went to the Memphis Grizzlies in the 2nd round. And so just listen to some of the chatter about Jamal and Lanier. Lanier's a great shooter. He'll make the team. As long as he continues to shoot consistently from the three and can create his own shot, he'll make the team. Jamal Maschak is like I said about Legend Bay. He's a Swiss Army knife. Uh, Allen, that played for the Memphis Grizzlies, he was a Swiss Army knife. He was a player that could play defense. He could check your top your top offensive players on the opposing team. He could check your guards, and he could check the small forwards, and he was very good. And he's one of the better players for the Memphis Grizzlies over the years. Well, Maschak reminds a lot of the scouts and the coaches at Memphis of Allen. Uh, Terrell Allen, what's his name? Terrell Allen? Can't remember his name, but anyway, he like I said, I think his jersey's retired. He's a great player for the Memphis Grizzlies. But anyway, he's going to be a defensive specialist for Memphis. He's going to make the team because he can play defense. If you can play defense, that's something that kind of goes unnoticed in basketball. If you're a real good defensive player, you can make it to the NBA. Now, Jamal did improve on his shooting his senior year, and he shot well. I remember one game, he won the game with like a 45-foot three-point shot for the Tennessee Volunteers. So he's going to improve on his shooting game. So he'll be okay. He'll be okay. I think he's playing in the summer league that's getting ready to crank up here. And then to mention the summer league, so you're going to have Jamal Maschak playing in the summer league for Memphis. You're going to have Chaz Lanier playing in the summer league for the Detroit Lions, and along with Zakia Ziegler is going to be playing in the summer league. He signed a contract with the Detroit Lions as a free agent. And then you're going to have Jordan Gainey, playing in the summer league for the Phoenix Suns, and he signed a free agent contract. And then Michlich, power forward for Tennessee, he signed a contract, and he'll be playing in the summer league for the 76ers. So hopefully one of those three guys make it with a team, and that'll be big news for Tennessee. Then baseball, like I said, baseball made it to the Super Regional. They didn't get past the Super Regional. They lost, but they've had a lot of transfer portal players in baseball. Tennessee has, but they bought in several key transfer portal players, and so I'll have to get that for you in another show for Tennessee. And then I think that's about wrapping it up for this Tennessee show. Like I said, I got some do outs on some things. I'm gonna get back with you on it. But if you have any comments, put them in the comment box on this for this video, and I'll answer them on the next show. I'm gonna try to do a live show here once I get all my technical stuff out of the way, and then last but not least, I want to show you where Tennessee is basically depth chart for the Volunteers in football right now. So if you see anybody in orange up there, just looking at it, that's Pendleton. He's going. Our lads has got him inked in at the left guard, and then the right guard is most of both the transfers in are in starting positions, and then Sal White, the redshirt freshman from Akron, Ohio, he's a 4-star in high school. Got him inked in as the center for the Vols, and of course Max Anderson is right behind him if something happened to Sal White. And of course Nate Moore is the third stringer, And then, of course, Aguilar, they got Aguilar inked in as the #1 quarterback. He's the transfer from UCLA. And then got Deshaun Bishop, running back. He's running back #1. Peyton Lewis, running back #2. And then, of course, the transfer from Duke, Star Thomas, is running back #3. And then, of course, the two freshmen, Dwayne Morse and Justin Baker, are backing all those guys up. So we got 5 good running back tailbacks in that room. You notice Tennessee doesn't have a fullback because they always use their tight ends as fullback. And of course, Kilson's the starting tight end, and Ethan Davis is the backing him up. And then you got Jack Vansilier, and then you got Deshaun Brain, and then you got Cole Harrison. All of those guys are very good tight ends, and I think they're going to get used all season. And of course, the right tackle is David Sanders. That's the 5-star #1 offensive tackle prospect in the country. Just looking at the receivers, you got Brazel at the #1 spot, wide receiver in the Z, and then the X receiver is Mike Matthews, 5-star, and then the Y, which is the slot. You got Braylon Staley there, and then you got Boo Carter inked in there right behind him, and you got Jackson, Radarius Jackson, freshman, inked in behind Brazel, and then you got Travis Smith inked in behind Matthews. You got Troy Weary, Jakeem Dotson, another talented freshman. Amari Jefferson, a very good player who Tennessee recruited hard, but he went to Alabama State, hurt a lot. But he's here in Tennessee now. So they've got quite a few kids in that wide receiver room. Of course, the 5-star Lance Hurd is holding down that left tackle spot with Bryant Grant and Trevor Duncan behind him. And Jamias Hurd, the freshman, redshirt freshman, he's also in line for that job too. So you got four good tackles. Guards, Umarov has really played well from what I understand. And of course, Pendleton has all that experience from Notre Dame. And then of course, you got Wendell Moore. He's a transfer in. I think he transferred in from Arizona. And then you got Gage Ginther, freshman, redshirt freshman, backing him up. And then, of course, Sanders is being backed up by Bennett Warren, another talented freshman. And Jesse Perry is another freshman that's right behind him. So we got pretty good guys and pretty good depth. Could use some more depth at left guard. But just looking at the defense, no newcomers on the defense. Looks like Tyree West is going to be the strong end. The nose tackle is going to be Bryson Eason, senior. Both of those guys are seniors. Defensive tackles is Darren Hall. He was a 5-star we brought in out of North Carolina. And then, of course, Joseph is going to be the Leo. I look for Joseph to break out and put his name down as a #1 draft pick in the NFL. He's that good. And, of course, Carter. Carter is Arian Carter he's out of Smyrna, Tennessee. He is the middle linebacker, Mike linebacker, the weak linebacker, Jeremiah T. line. He's another good player. And, of course, Spillman and Jordan Burns are backing him up. And then you got the two youngsters, Jordan Harmon, and Jaylon Pilati. And so we got 6 good guys in that linebacker room, and that's going to help us out a lot. So Jamal McCoy has been listed as the #1 defensive back prospect in the draft for 2026. He's hurt right now, but they're looking for him to come back and be healthy and have a great year. Backing him up is Colton Hood, transfer from Colorado, who's a very good player also, blue chipper, come transferring in the portal. So and then you got And then you got Turntine at the one safety, Beasley, who's a sophomore at the backing him up, and of course Jackson Matthews backing him up. Free safety for Rook, who is I think he's just a sophomore. He's right now inked in at the free safety, and Marcus Gorey is right behind him. So we could use a couple more bodies, a couple more players, I should say, at the safety and free safety position, and we got some young kids on the way, but they won't get here until next year. And then of course Ricky Gibson's holding down that right corner. He's probably going to be an All-American before he leaves. And then of course Jaylon McMurray's a very good player, senior, with a lot of experience backing him up. And then Andre Stewart is a guy with a lot of experience also on that right corner side. And of course, Boo Carter is the nickel back with Jordan Thomas backing him up. And so that's the story on the Tennessee Vols depth chart. And don't know when practices will start to get ready for the season, but that should be coming around. They should be starting here in another week or so. And so we'll just have to wait and see. But with that said, that's going to, another announcement. Tennessee is going to play a game in Nashville at the Bridgestone Arena against Illinois in basketball. That's going to be a big game. I think that's one of the, and the reason why it's going to be a big game because Tennessee will open up with Syracuse University in football this year. And then they're going to play a big game against Syracuse, against Illinois basketball in Nashville. And of course, Tennessee beat Illinois on the last second shot this past season by Jordan Gainey. He took the ball coast to coast and put a layup in the closing seconds to beat Illinois. So they're going to want to come down here and beat Tennessee. Now I know when the NBA draft, Illinois lost two of their key players to the NBA draft, and so they're gonna want to come down here and beat Tennessee in their own home state. So I just wanted to announce that. And then last but not least, the HR ruling came in, and I don't have all the specifics on the HR ruling, but I can tell you this much, that there was a couple of things that was noted from the HR ruling. That's the House resolution that was being passed. The judge made a decision on it here about 3 weeks ago. But anyway, all Division I schools scholarships are going to go from 85 up to 105. And so, you used to have guys that was walk-ons and that kind of thing. Well, you don't have to worry about that. They're going to either get partial scholarships or scholarships now. And then they can get up to 105 players out there now. And then that's for all Division I football. Now, not sure if that counts the FCS level, like TSU, Tennessee Tech, and Austin Peay. But if that does, that's going to help them a lot because they were strapped at 67. And if they get, then their Division I football is just at a little bit lower level. If they can get to 105 scholarships, it's going to help them a lot, especially with the transfer portal the way it is. And then the other thing that I want to mention to you that's on my ticker here, well, it's not ticking, but is my highlighter, is that a cap was given to schools that they cannot pay more than $20.5 million out for NIL. Now, that doesn't include the collective. And what I mean is like Spear Sports for Tennessee. Spear Sports can still help with money for NIL. Don't know what how that's going to work. I know a lot of schools don't like the 20.5 cap, and so a lot of schools think that they can't compete with that 20.5 cap. I think it was mentioned just yesterday, I guess, at the Big 12 Media Days, that Deion Sanders mentioned there should be a cap. He said most schools can't afford to pay $25 to $30 million per year for a freshman class. And so I don't know if that's going to ever happen, but it's some things that needs to be checked and fixed and mediated so they could come up with some provisions for how much money can be given to a player and so forth, and also look at the transfer portal too. I like the transfer portal more than I do NIL, and I'm gonna tell you why. Transfer portal, if a player's not getting to play, let him go. Let him go. No one stops a coach from leaving. If he gets a better opportunity, he's gonna leave. So a player, if he's a good player, let him go. And if he's not getting to play, let him go. That's the way I look at it. You're keeping a player around and he's just sitting there on the plank, not getting to play. That's not a good, that's a bad feeling for one, for the player. And two, just saying you have a player, he played for Tennessee, or he played for Middle, he played for Vanderbilt, he played for Memphis, or he played, that's not what a player wants. A player wants the opportunity to be able to get out there and show his abilities. And if he's just a practice player and he's been there for 4 years and never got to play in a significant time, that's not good for the player. And so I like the transfer portal better than I do the NIL. Now, the NIL, they just need to put some provisions in place to fix some of the things that's going on, But I don't think there's ever going to be a cap on how much money you can give to players. It may change a few things here and there, but I just don't think there's ever going to be a cap, And of course, I go back to watching football back in the old days of SMU and the old Big Eight, where they was bring a new car to a player every other week and stuff like that, and paying money in a brown bag and that kind of stuff. Things was going on out of this way. Buying the parents' houses, getting the daddy's jobs. I think it was University of Kentucky. There was a player they was trying to recruit, and Kentucky had sent a whole bag of money out there to L.A. It was a kid named Mills, I believe. He was a small forward. And the package busted open, and the postal worker saw all this cash money in there. And that's how they caught Kentucky on that. They was giving all this cash money to the father and mother just to get that player to sign with them. And I think they even had paperwork in there to get him a job, to get him a better job than what he had. So that's the kind of stuff that was going on before NIL and transfer portal. So all those things are alleviated now because of the NIL and transfer portal. And then of course you look at the kid that won the Heisman Trophy. He had to turn his Heisman Trophy in for a 1978 Chevy that was given to him. Can't think his name. He played in the NFL for a while, and he was a famous player. But he won the Heisman Trophy. Had to turn his Heisman Trophy back in because his mother and father took money for a house that they was renting or something, and then he got a car, and it was a 1978 Chevy. And so now with NIL, I think he's asking for his money back. He's asking for his trophy back, and I think they did give him his trophy back. So that's some of the stuff going on. With that said, though, this is going to end this Tennessee show. I'm going to do another show here within the next hour for another school in the state of Tennessee. I only support about 5 schools in the state of Tennessee, but at times I will talk about the other schools in the state and mention some of the highlights that's going on with them. With that said, this is ShallowCross Sports Network, and I'm glad to be back on the air. God bless each and every one of you. If you have a comment, put it in the comment block for me. I'll answer it. And if you don't, please remember to like and subscribe, and then kick my videos to some of your friends. This is a non-profit channel. I'm not making a dime off of this channel. All I'm doing is providing information as a hobby, as an old retiree, as a hobby to the public and to the community. And again, this is the ShallowCross Sports Network, and we'll see you on the next show.